Hello, welcome to this week's episode of How's the Market, Pensacola? Who has braved the grocery store already? Or are you that person that's going to be like really late? I did the whole thing yesterday. It took me probably 2.5 hours just trying to get through all the stuff. And of course, there was one spice I could not find. Get home, find out, we didn't really need that. Trying to follow the entire list, get it all done, ready for Thanksgiving meal, because we got everybody coming over. Come to find out, I spent probably an hour looking for a spice that we didn't need anyways. It was just an extra. Really wish somebody would have told me that. I don't know. Are you ready for Thanksgiving? And are you a baked turkey? Yeah. I'm a deep fried turkey guy. I know they had a lot of fires about that, but I've been doing that for years. I kind of love that. But I know baked turkeys, and I know there's a bunch of other ways, different ways to cook it. But hey, we're not going to be here talking about Thanksgiving meal, although that is coming up very soon, and that's definitely my cheat meal for the week. We're here to talk about real estate. Let's go. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, for this Thanksgiving week, we're going to start off like we do every week. I always start off with this slide just for people who have not seen the show yet. If we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, it's considered a neutral market. Greater than 7 months is considered a buyer's market. Less than 6 months is considered a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say. Greater than 9 months is considered a hyper buyer's market. Less than 3 is considered a hyper seller's market. Now, if you've been watching the show the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about an inventory crisis, especially in Santa Rosa County, but in both counties at a lot of different price points, especially those opening price points. So let's see how we are here this week of Thanksgiving, if we've got any increased inventory or not. This is actually Escambia County, and we still sit the same as we've done the last couple of weeks. Anything under $300,000 is considered a hyper seller's market. That's why I use that front slide for those who haven't seen the show. Over here is the list price. On the right-hand side is the month's worth of inventory. That's why I always show that slide first. Okay, so anything under $300,000 in Escambia County is still a hyper seller's market. We do have a little bit of inventory. Look at that, between 2 and 250. I've got 204 active properties right now, but it's still 2.2 months worth of inventory. So that means that the appetite for that price point is really strong. I got 177 under contract at that point right now. All right, those are pending. And then I've had 564 sold. So that's the 2.2 months worth of inventory. You get between 300 and 500, looks like, and it's a seller's market. So between 3 and 5 is a seller's market. Under 3 is a hyper seller's market. Marketing changes if you're a seller, and when you go offering stuff as a buyer, your offers have to change. I just made an offer yesterday between this price point right here. 50 and 99.9, basically 50 and 100. But knowing that it's 2.2 months worth of inventory, we had to make a pretty strong offer. Needless to say, our offer was very strong, and I expect it to be accepted momentarily, honestly, as I'm recording this. So 500,000 and under is a seller's or a hyper seller's market in Escambia County. If you look at 5 to 550, that's a buyer's market and almost a hyper buyer's market, and 550 to 600 is a hyper buyer's market. So up to $500,000 sellers or hyper sellers, $500,000 to 600,000 hyper buyers. So again, I showed these numbers every week so that you guys can see if you're in that price point. If you're at the 530, 540 price point, you can get a little more aggressive. If you're at the 480 price point, you might not be able to get as aggressive as a buyer or as a seller. The seller, let me flip that as a seller. As a seller, if you're at the 480 mark, you can get aggressive. But as a 540 mark, you might not be able to get as aggressive. Am I trying to tell you to sell for less than what it's worth? No, I'm not. But it's harder to push the envelope at 530 than it is at 470. 470, I may be able to push it to 480. And it's justified. We don't have the inventory there. 530, we're probably going to have to be at 530. And we're going to have to differentiate what makes us different when someone's looking, because the appetite's just not there. 6 to 650, it's funny. It shows it as a hyper seller's market. A hyper seller's market. We just don't have much inventory, and there's not much demand at that price point right now. 650 to 700 in Escambia County, true definition of a neutral market. So again, it's just it's a strange when you start getting up over $500,000, how you have to change up things. Okay, so just pay attention to that. And over 700,000, We've got almost a year's worth of inventory. So your luxury in Escambia County, your ultimate luxury, is definitely a hyper buyer's market. So you've got to pay attention on what you want to market and how you want to negotiate. All right. I had a client not too long ago that his property's worth, I think we figured it up, it's worth about $992. All right. That is about what it's worth. So let's say $1 million. But he said, okay, if it's worth $992, I want to list it at $992, but I'm not going to take anything less than $992. That is a bad marketing strategy because look, over 700,000 is a hyper buyer's market. That means the buyers are expecting to negotiate. And if you look at these numbers right to the left of this says 95 and 93%. That's the list to sale close ratio. So it's selling for 93 to 95% of list. So you list it at $1 million, you expect between 930 and 950. But if it's worth 992, you list at 992 and you will not take any less than 992, you're probably just going to sit there for a while because buyers are going to want to negotiate, especially that price point. All right, that's Escambia County. Let's jump over to Santa Rosa and see where we're at. Things changed a little bit in Santa Rosa this week. Finally. It still scares me, and I still say there's a crisis in inventory in Santa Rosa County because the last 5 or 6 weeks, everything under $500,000 has been a hyper seller's market. But if you look, the 350 to 400 is now just a seller's market. We've come out of the hyper sellers. It says anything under 3 is hyper sellers. We're barely out of hyper sellers, so much so that I still call this a hyper sellers market. Okay, and a lot of this came out of some new builds coming on. There's some new neighborhoods in Santa Rosa County coming online, and so we've got some price points here that are now being put in the MLS to be built. Okay, so it's showing active, but it's to be built, and it'll be 7 months before they're built. And they put the model on there, and then it stays on for a little bit, so it skews the numbers slightly. So I kind of looked at that, and then if you look, hey Shane, it's not hyper sellers at the 0 to 50 mark. You're right. There's 5 active. I looked because as I saw this report, I wanted to see what that was, and 3 of these are lots, 2 of these are mobile homes. So yeah, but I guarantee you this will go back down probably next week. Although I don't know, the week of Thanksgiving seems to slow up for some people. It's like we won't want to buy just yet. I usually the week after, the week before and the week after, I get a bunch of people saying, hey, we want to buy a homestead. Anyways, under $500,000, still pretty much a hyper seller's market with this fluke this week. But it's good to see, hey, we do have those. And pay attention here. But this is what I was talking about when I said the first-time home buyer or your first-time investor that likes to stay between 100 and say 250. Look at this. There's 2.4 months, 1 month, and 1.1 month. It is tough for a first-time home buyer right now between that 100 and 200 mark to find something they like and be able to get it fast enough. All right, it just goes under contract like that. If it comes on the market and it's marketed right. We do have some properties. I mean, look, 150 to 200, there's 64 active right now in Santa Rosa County. But some of them have been active for a while, and I think they're priced a little too high. But it's just, even with that, we've only got 1 month's worth of inventory. We do not get new inventory between the 100 and 200 mark. Soon, we will be out of houses by Christmas. We just will. It's Thanksgiving week. We got 1 month's inventory. That means unless we get new properties, we will be out. And I have seen price points go out. And it's tough to be a first-time home buyer right now in Santa Rosa County because there's just not much inventory. You've got to be ready, and you've got to differentiate yourself as a buyer. Plus, if you're just, following or I can't think of the word right now. It's not recommending. It's basing all of your information off of your Zillows and your Trulias. Understand they don't have it all. They don't have all the information, and they are delayed. Sometimes they update within 15 minutes. Most of the time I've seen them update within 24 hours. Okay, so you get an update in 24 hours, but look at this. There's 1 month's worth of inventory. Something comes on, and you're giving your competition, your competitive buyers that want to buy something, a 24-hour heads up. It doesn't make any sense. That's why you're losing some of the properties. So if you're just relying, that's the word I was looking for, relying. If you're just relying on those sites, you need to get a hold of me because I've got a buyer's program that will actually give you access to the MLS. So as soon as it comes on, you're immediately notified. If someone price drops that you're on a property, you're immediately notified. Not like your Zillows and Trulias, because they rely on the MLS feed. But again, it can range anywhere from 15 minutes to 24. I've actually seen 36 hours, 48 hours. And then they don't, sometimes Zillow and Trulia doesn't pull stuff off. A guy called me this week. He said, I really want this property and it's active on Zillow. And I pulled it up on Zillow. Sure enough, it was active on Zillow for the price it sold for in April. For the price it sold for in April. And I knew the owner because I'm the one that sold it. And so I called him up and I said, are you trying to sell your property for what you paid for it? He goes, no. Why? It's active on Zillow. And it just came randomly active. So that stuff happens too. If you're a buyer and you're in this price point, you need to be ready to go. Pre-approval first. Get your pre-approval. And you need to be able to have access to immediately when properties come on. The property that I just told you about that we wrote between 50 and 100,000 in Escambia County over the weekend, that buyer knew about the property immediately when it came on. We immediately scheduled a showing, went over there, took a look at it, wrote an offer. I mean, it was immediate. And that's what you're going to really need. All right, above 500, I don't know why I just stuttered there. Above 500, it's not cold. Between 500 and looks like 650. Still a seller's market, not necessarily a hyper seller's market, but still a seller's market. 650 to 700 is a neutral market, and the ultra luxury in Santa Rosa County is a buyer's market. But we don't have a hyper buyer's market in Santa Rosa County. We just don't. So there's the numbers. If you're looking at buying or selling over the next 12 months, reach out, leave me a comment on this. Let's chat. Let's talk. Let's figure out what type of game plan you can have, because like I said, the buyers have got to be ready. The sellers have got to differentiate. I've got like 9 homes right now that are probably going to come on in January that they just didn't want to do it over the Christmas break. And that's fine. That's what you want to do. That's fine. But we're starting to get stuff done so that when we come on, we're different than some of the other properties. So I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If you haven't subscribed over to the Facebook page, get over there, facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. I'm giving away 2 tickets to opening night of Star Wars. On the page, you can actually see how you get them. It's going to be kind of cool. I did a whole client appreciation. I rented the whole theater. So I'm going to give away 2 free tickets. Get over there. Have a great, great Thanksgiving. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there. And I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?